And as I was saying in part one, there was that bumped me, and she looked like a college student that like lived here but went to like the University of Columbia or something like that. Either way, she purposely bumped on me, and then I apologized, like, oh, sorry. And I was, when I apologized, I'm like smiley and, polite. I'm not gonna be like, sorry, I'm like smiling, oh, sorry. She looked at it, looked at me, and just like smiled, and like she was like happy for me to respond that way. And it's like she was under the impression that I was saying that in a like flirtatious way instead of just being apologetic in a polite way, right? And as soon as I noticed that, I was like, oh, she's getting the wrong idea. I walked away. It's like, oh, sorry, and I walked away like, oh, I don't want you to get the wrong idea here. And the reason why I acted this way is because it's because I don't want that kind of attention from you. It's like you're not my cup of tea. At that point, I thought this was like some young adult or something like that. But I'm like, okay, I walked away, and I'm not a shy guy in that sense. If I was getting that kind of response from somebody I was actually interested in, I would not be that quick to run away. Okay, I know who I am. I'm not perfect. It's just like she wasn't my cup of tea. I'm not trying to say anything, but I didn't want to try to get that kind of attention from her. I was truly being polite and apologizing for the bump that she caused, but you just gotta have matters. Okay, I'm not gonna be like, hey, you just bumped me. I was like, oh, sorry, and just walked away. And I even walked away. I said, sorry. She looked at me and smiled. I was like, oh. And it's funny because at the time I was like, man, I guess I'm so good looking that like me just smiling and apologizing is enough to like. But in reality, everything was orchestrated that way. But anyways, today's like, yeah, we got you there. We got you. It's like, you got me what? To be polite and apologize, and then noticing that she looked interested, and I'm like, oh, let me get out of here. And the truth is, I believe that she's like a young adult. But as a young adult, I was like, I'm not interested in the way, you're not my cup of tea. Let's just say that. And it's funny because they try to find whatever they can to try to make me subscribe to this thing. These people who, in part one, you heard the horrible things that they do, forcing women and mothers to get sexual arousal toward their own children, and try to gaslight them that this is just you. Just stop pretending to cry. Well, maybe you know what they try to do now? We're cross-referencing things, and because today that's what they do to me toward the youngest of the youngest, and also the oldest teenagers, the oldest kids that are not adults yet. It's like you do that to the babies, but you do that toward this women who toward their own babies. You think I have doubt that that's what you do to me? And they try to put things together and come up with, oh no, but remember that person that bumped you? Yeah, actually she was not like a young adult. She was like, either way, you saw how I reacted to her. And it's most likely a costume. And they try to mess with me because they do have this like teenage kids do that too. That started happening to me after August 19, 2019 in such a disgusting way. I had like a little teenage 15-year-old. I was walking back home. She walked right in front of me. Just like tried to walk and stopped and tried to bump her butt onto me. I had to like dodge it. On my way out of a train, I don't know what it was, but I think some teenager. She tried to like grab my private. I had to slap the hand away. I had to, as I was coming out. She's trying to like, I'll just slap. And they do these things. When I was like waiting for the lights to be ready for me to walk, I'm tired. I'm just like, oh, I'm not like even aware of what's happening around me. I do that. I drop my hand. As I drop my hand, boom, I feel like somebody's hands. And I look around and I see some teenagers that was getting close to me. There was space around. It's so close that when I'm like, what the hell? And then she tried to, it's like trash. And this is the things they do. Then to try to make me subscribe to this, like, no, but you follow this person 2024 on Snapchat, which is funny, like Snapchat, who I thought was an adult. If you look at how she looked like, that's why I thought she was an adult. And today, like, yeah, that's like the pièce de resistance, that these people that could force a woman to have sexual arousal to her own child are doing this investigation and what they do is try to find ways to make you internalize these manipulations. And you utilize all kind of trickeries and stupidity, and they force that stupidity into you. The same fuckers that are capable of forcing a woman to have sexual arousal to her own child, breaking her down psychologically, and then this woman breaks down, start crying, and they're like, no, you're just making yourself cry like that because it's just... My coworkers try to gaslight me. It's like, no, because I'm supposed to look at this intellectualness of them. It's like, no, we just cross-reference this. It's like I'm cross-referencing with other target individuals saying the same things. Even mothers being forced to get sexual arousal toward their own children, while trash like you are trying to paint this. Like, what is it? Is it the program where even mothers are now have these disgusting experiences when they see their own children? Or this investigating involving the same thing, I just like cross-reference, trash us. They really just want the target individual to be a mental retard as they do the same things and try to gaslight you. In my brain's like, no, but I believe stupidity. And the thing about these perps is this. They are going to go all out in gaslighting. They don't care how stupid things are. Even at this point of age, you are no longer somebody you are informed. Right? Initially, when you don't know what's happening and you don't understand that this is something that's happening to so many others, in the same way, you can be fooled in that way. But at this point, past the level of that, now it's over. I was even with others saying this is happening to men, women, and children. So they think that we're gonna just maintain this fantasized reality that he's still in the deluded reason. And you can imagine what's gonna happen. Everything. When they try to play the justice, say, listen, there's gonna be target individual. Listen, there's a lot of participants that come in all races, all gender, all ages, and it's the same thing. They are utilizing psychological tactics that will try to make the target individual internalize that. If they think that, okay, if we have women gaslighting you, the likelihood of you internalizing this is higher, they're gonna do that. If we make these people look like these nurturing looking people, if we look like, it's gonna look more real, because perhaps women look more morally lenient, or morally not lenient, more morally strong, I guess, than men. So let's just use women to gaslight, because it's gonna help with the target individual internalizing this. It's all psychological game. But the thing is, they do the same things to women. So talk about cross-referencing. You go back, it's like there's a lot of female to female targeting. Because the gaslighting, when applied by women, especially toward other women, it's like they try to use like with this solidarity of like between women, but disappointed because it's so you. It's like they're mastering the best psychological ways to break somebody down and make them internalize this manipulation. It's like you're just this little tool, not even a tool, this little subject that they're like, okay, what tactics work? Okay, we do this with this, with this, with this. What can we get out of this? How can we manipulate this? How can we even the manipulation? When they do this disgusting stimulation, they try to make it seem like it's familiar, so you can internalize this thing better. For me, they've been saying, no, we match it to it. And they give you a feeling like, oh, you feel like that when you this. And they try to like mimic something that is familiar. So, and then create it into adult arousals and then manipulate it to, and just concoct it in a way that it feels familiar. So you can internalize this manipulation. They do that to other target individuals. Somebody says something so similar to what I experienced early on. They made him feel like a feeling of like ticklish, when he was feeling ticklish, or when they were tickling him, or when there was like something in his stomach. But then mixed it with some sexual arousals to combine these two to create a familiarity of the sensation and try to implant it into his brain what to torment him, but to create a sense of familiarity so they can make this person internalize this thing. Women are forced to, oh, you feel like remember, and it's like, oh, it smells like when I was in middle school, like that, but then force that woman to have this sexual arousal from teenager. It's like they try to concoct, what can we do to make that person accept this? And for me, that's like, no, this and that. And so for them, they love the fact that they can bring up me doing something stupid to myself as a child. Because these people are known to be utilizing whatever they can even cultivate from childhood to make you internalize this manipulation. And so for me, when I was in 8th grade, I did something to myself as a child that was inappropriate that children can do at that age because the brain is still, so like a childhood, like just stupidity that a child is capable of doing. Because we know that children, even 13, 14, are still fully developing, especially at that age. That's when puberty starts hitting. And so things are just kind of even more for a boy, just like, so an act like that can happen. So they just really maximizing that's like, no, but we'll match that to you. It's like, trash, you do this thing. And I remember them saying, oh, we got lucky there because they can really try to utilize that as the validation that we're not manipulating. When they do the same thing. Talk about cross-referencing, they do the same thing. A woman was doing, like, was on the swing set, which is trying to mess with me with a movie that just rewired in this different way. And they make her feel like a feeling she felt like when she was 13 years old. But concocting in a way to now her adults. And they told her child and she felt weird. Another woman was like, they were trying to make me think this you when you, she's like, I'm not a 13-year-old. I'm an adult woman. She had to tell herself that. Because some of the way they try to break you down psychologically is that. To try to like rationalize this clear manipulation. To say, no, we're just making you feel something. And that's, and you know, sometimes they just make you have this sexual, and I remember they were trying to mess with me because I had the target, we just say, like a generic sexual stimulation, just a pure sexual stimulation, boom. But sometimes they try to concoct the stimulation and sensation to feel familiar. And it's clear, it's because they want you to think that, like to internalize this thing. It's like you're like this toy, this little thing that they just test out what works, what tactics work, what things can be said, when to say it, oh, okay, that doesn't work. And that's that. I've accepted that. And more validating after that. I was like, oh my gosh, they really try to perfect. What combinations of tormenting and tactics as they benefit from other things as. But at one point, like, you can't even, when you start hearing that, they do that to these women with their children. It's not just women, okay? They're women that they're forcing sexual stimulation toward their own children, and then they break down, and then even in the breakdown, they're like, stop pretending you're breaking down, okay? It's you. Then they do these things where they're known to be framing target video, try to paint the target video certain. It's so, I was like, the same people there are like, oh, we're just, yeah, teenagers are trash. This teenage trash, or the same teenage trash participate in that. And they're known to be utilizing this trash in this way. And today, if you can even look at a child that's clearly a child, a baby, imagine like this late teens where some of them may look older than, it's like, and yesterday was discussed, it was, you know, they want you to live in such a deluded reality that is like the most obvious is just kind of stripped away from you. Of course, some people look older than the age. Some people, that's what people check IDs, okay? And sometimes they utilize that as against you. It's like, how old do you think she is? How old is it? It's like, so yesterday, there was this guy who's Rampage Jackson. He's listen, I don't follow his views, but he's very entertaining, okay? And he's entertaining because he's like a 47-year-old in a 25-year-old body. Oh, sorry, as 47, somebody in a 47-year-old body, who's 47-year-old with the mind of a 25-year-old or something like that. I don't wish to be like him. I don't. I don't view his moral views of the world like him. I don't. This is not somebody you look up for in regard view values and moral. Not at all. He's just like an entertainment. He is, he is an entertaining individual that you watch for his entertainment, not for his value. And it's funny, he say things that are just crazy. I'm not like him in the way I view women, or I don't even want to be like him. I don't want to live like him, but he is an entertaining person. He's like you're watching a reality show on steroid. And he's truly like that. But this man just has no filter. And he's a 47-year-old still dating like young adults, which is common. And so he was like, he always, so he asked the age, like, oh, how old are you? He was like, oh, okay. And this girl didn't want to give us the age. And in my brain, they tried to play with my brain. And he's like, why don't you want to give your age? And it's probably because she didn't want to feel uncomfortable, like, because she didn't want to sound old, I guess. There's like insecurity about her age, right? And it's like, man, I've got to ask age because some people look older than me, And I'm like, you see the reality? And so for me, what they tried to bring up not too long ago is this perps. They love to use these teenagers. Sometimes I think that because I'm getting so much older in my age, I'm not even close to the age of this rampage. For me, sometimes these 23-year-old look like teenagers. Some of them, like, I'm like, are you an adult? The older I get, the more I look at these 20-something, early 20s as like teenagers. Some of them, they almost look the same. And I'm like, are you sure you're an adult? So with me, they do these nasty things. They tell me they're gonna frame me. And they've done like these things where I'm like, is this like when I feel stimulation sensation, sometimes they give me stimulation sensations like, oh, is she an adult? And sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, excuse me, how old are you? And sometimes I'm like, I'm 23. Why? Do I look? I was like, no, you look like you're 16. And there's a time I remember going on a date with a woman that's maybe 4 years older than me. And the hostess looked young. And she sounded young too. She was like, had a young voice. I'm like, and she's like, yeah, you sit here. I was like, and I'm like, oh, excuse me, how old are you? And she's like, I'm 16. Why? I was like, oh, no, I just wanna guess people's age. I just wanna know if I can guess people's age. Oh, okay, thank you. And I was like, oh, they got this little teenager there so they can do this manipulations. Like, oh, you see how you look? I was like, I know. So now I'm like very conscious. Like, how old are you? Okay. Because I'm not even going to let them leave the fantasy. And I took a picture, like, they have this little teenager doing that. So they can play it off. And they're like, oh, no, you ask her age because you want her. I was like, trash, you are a fucking retard. They come up with stories that's so stupid. I'm on my way on a date. I'm going to the restaurant on a date. There's some like talking like, it's like, I'll be like, oh, because I'm dumb shit. And so they don't even, like, even the way they concoct the story, sometimes it's just like, they don't even care. It's like, we can just make him think however we want. We can gaslight him however we want. We don't care if it doesn't even make sense. We can repaint reality in however ways. But that's why I take pictures and record everything, because I want to stay in tune with reality. Not whatever they can fabricate, no matter how retarded it is. Talking me just stay strong. See this trustworthy are. And it's like, yeah, you're crazy. He's like, yes. If I become crazy because I lose my mind because this trash have no shame of how they try to recreate reality, I'll crash out, no problem. But this is a warning to those who think I'm just gonna be like submissive and passive about it. No, things gonna go the way they need to go. I'll be wearing a body cam. You play your games. Get ready. To all my talking videos, stay strong. Do not internalize this manipulation. Understand that they have the same system. This teenage trash is disgusting. They understand that they have to, this tactics of trying to frame you and do this and that. And they even think it's nasty. Baiting you into like having a reaction. They're nasty. My brain's like, oh, that was baked. And I was like, you baked for like, try to figure out if she was a kid or like, they don't even have no shame. And that's why I'm like, oh, excuse me, okay. Sometimes they mess with me with coworkers. Target video, do not let this trash drive you into accepting this manipulation and see them for what they are.